All right, the tank is the next program we're gonna go over. In this program, it's a 12-week prep. You can pretty much run this into like a 2-week prep or 2-week peak for your powerlifting meet. So run this and then hit your openers on week 1 of your peak and then deload and then compete, and you should be pretty good. This is a great 14-week meet prep. Now, a little different on this program compared to the others. We have some more traditional aspects to it, and then we definitely still have all of our isolation and more accessory movements in that alternating periodization style. The difference is our 3 main movements, so our bench press with its 2 supplemental movements, are going to stay the same for 4 weeks. We're gonna creep up the weight, we're gonna creep down the volume over the time frame, but those will stay the same for 4 weeks. So block 1, you'll do those same 3 movements and then your accessories. Block 2, you get a new set of 4 movements in there. And then block 3, the same thing goes, and you get another set of movements in there, and that'll take you into your peak. All right, in block 1, there's a couple things to pay attention to. One of the things we have in there is a front squat. If you're new to lifting, you may not have done much front squatting. So what that means is the barbell's going on your shoulders here instead of on your back. Couple ways to do that. You can do it in a rack position like this, which if you have the flexibility to do that, it's gonna remain a little tighter and feel a little more stable in your squat positions than the other way, which is by crossing your arms over and holding onto the bar like this. This way is much more friendly to people who are a little less flexible, but you're gonna feel it trying to roll off the whole time. So you really wanna keep those elbows as high as you can. You should feel that bar in your throat in either of these variations. Another thing that gets introduced is pauses. So on our pauses, if they're 3-count pauses, we're counting 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, then up. If you're going 1 1,000, 2 1,000, up, that is a 2-count pause. So be honest with yourself and hit the correct time amount, okay? You at least need to be hitting a 1 1,000 before you stand back up. You need to be stable in those positions. Specifically on the deadlift, we have you pausing, but it is on the way down. It is much more commonly in practice and programmed to pause your deadlift as you come up, pause at the knee or below the knee, and then finish. That is, if you are not super proficient at deadlifting, you will tend to go forward and your shoulders will go in front of the bar. And you will have a higher chance of tweaking your back doing a pause deadlift like that. So instead, what I want you to do is deadlift to the top and then lower it down with control, pushing your hips back, pause on the way down, then put it on the ground, okay? You get almost the exact same benefit with way less risk of tweaking your back. And then the last thing we have is our eccentrics. So same thing as with the pauses, you gotta count that 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. You don't wanna squat and then be pausing in the bottom for the rest of it. You wanna go slow the whole way down, no pause, turn around and go, okay? If it's pause, we're pausing. If it's a slow eccentric, it's a slow eccentric with no pause at the bottom. So just keep those in mind in this block. This is gonna be your main hypertrophy block, building that muscle. All right, block 2, we are still accumulating pretty good amount of volume, but we are starting to move the reps down and move the percentages higher. You're still gonna have your pauses and eccentrics. The same rules apply to those as what you did in block 1. The main difference here is things are getting heavier and reps are starting to creep down just a little bit. This is kind of a strength volume phase, and that'll take us into block 3. All right, block 3, this is when we're working our strength into our peak strength. So again, you're gonna see the reps come down, you're gonna see the weights come up. A couple different movements in here you may not be used to. The first one is a Tigger squat. Tigger squat is where you squat down and you bounce, not just a little bounce, you bounce just above parallel and then come back down again. You don't want to just be bouncing in the bottom because then nothing's happening. It is like a 1 1/4 squat. So do your best here. You're basically gonna bounce up right to where you go, oh, it's super hard, and then go back down. Okay, so that's your Tigger squats. We also introduced the slingshot in this block, or any kind of thing that gives you that extra bounce off the bottom. There's a number of things you can sub. In the program, I give you options. You can pin press from about a 6-inch height, 5 or 6 inch off your chest. You can do a 3-board press. Or if you don't have a slingshot, probably the next closest thing to that would be setting up reverse bands in a power rack. But slingshot's a great thing. Pick whatever, the whatever. There's a ton of different copycats of it. Just get one of those. You're already spending money from here. What's a couple more bucks? Grab a Slingshot or a Reaper or whatever the other ones are called and get benefit from that. And then the last thing that we're popping in on here that's a little new is the kettlebell swing. And this is not a squatting movement, okay? This is to help with your deadlifts. So we want to see your hips going back and your body hinging like you would on an RDL to throw it. I don't want to see a squatting and an up movement. You want to think the kettlebell goes backwards, the kettlebell goes forwards with your energy, not down and up. RDLs are in this as well. On these, I do not care if you touch the floor. I just want you to feel a big stretch in your hamstring, okay? If you are touching the floor and you are rounding out your back to do it, you are going to hurt yourself doing an accessory movement, which is stupid. Don't do that. Just get enough stretch. If you feel a nice stretch in your hamstring and you got like 6 inches till you're on the ground, that's fine. That's just where your mobility is, and that's okay. We'll get to the ground just fine when we deadlift and we can bend our legs. The very, very, very last thing that you may not have tried before is an ab rollout. You can get these for like $10 to $20 at Dick's Sporting Goods, Walmart. Biggest things on these is you want to go out as far as you are comfortable going out, but it needs to be hard enough to do something with your abs. So you want to think about keeping your body hollowed out. Do not let your butt sag in. Do not let your back arch. If that's happening, your core is not strong enough to go as far as you were going. So get to where it's challenging, but you can maintain a good alignment. You need your hips to be in front of your knees and you need your arms to be in front of your shoulders. That is when your abs start working. Anything past that is a bonus, and that's good for you as well. So do this program, knock it out. You will get stronger and more buff. I promise. It's freaking awesome. Stay tuned on the app. We will be adding programs periodically.